Hey y'all, what's up? How's it going? Hi, my name's Daisy, and in case you didn't know, I'm currently an exchange student from America studying for a year in Germany through the CBYX program. Today's video is going to be about the application interview process that I went through ASSE and CBYX. Okay, first things first, I want to talk about the application part and then the interviews separately. In the application, there's several big parts. There's your photo, like your cover photo and collages, your essays, and your host family letter. There's a couple other parts, but I think those are the main big things. Okay, your photos. So your cover photo is the photo that your host family and everyone's gonna see. And a lot of people tell you to get this like really fancy headshot or go pay a lot of money to get this nice photo. And I'm gonna be honest, I just put my school photo from the previous year, so it doesn't have to be anything special. I mean, I think we all know that school photos kind of are not great, but I just did that one and didn't matter. So just do your school photo or any photo that is of you. It doesn't, like, without, not in a group or anything, just you. So you can have stuff in the background, just make sure it's a nice picture of you. But there's no need to go pay a lot of money to get a picture taken. Okay, and your photo collages. These, I'm not gonna lie to you, I stressed out about these so much, but just pick 5, wait, how many pictures did I have? 5, 6, 7, around there, pictures of you doing what you love, like your hobbies, your friends, you and your pets, you and your family. So just make sure you have pictures of what you love doing and of you enjoying life, and then write a little caption, or you don't have to, I guess you can write a little caption about what you're doing or why you love doing it. And that's pretty solid. That way they just get to know you a little bit by looking at you. Next is the essays. So the personal essays. Now, honestly, I don't remember what the essay questions are. I'm gonna look them up, okay? Okay, so one of the questions I had was describe in depth one of the activities listed in activities, awards, and interest. Section that you find particularly meaningful. What impact has it had on your life and or in the life of others? So I chose to write about being a Sea Scout. I talked about what it was. I talked about what experiences and opportunities I've gained from it. So for example, I talked about being a leader and being all the different leadership positions I was able to hold and what I learned from those experiences and the different skills and abilities that I've acquired from working in a crew, being in leadership, and just working on a sailboat in general. And so that's what I talked about for that question. Next is the United States is home to many different types of family structures. Reflect for a moment on how your family and family structure has contributed to your identity. What are your family's most important traditions, values, and stories? How have they shaped who you are as a person? Some of the most memorable, or some of the most important things I talked about from my family personally are like religion, family dinners, and holidays. So that's kind of simple. The United States is a vibrant multicultural country. Every individual expresses American culture from a unique perspective. What is one aspect of your experience as an American that you would like to share with your German peers? Conversely, I don't know how to say that word. What's one specific aspect of German culture you're interested in learning about? Okay, so I shared about how America is a mix of a lot of different cultures, and I just picked one of those things and I said how I would share it, and for me it was being smiley because I smile a lot, and I talked about how that is American and how I felt that I could share that and how that would impact people. And I talked about wanting to learn more about German history because I like German history, and I talked about how that history is important and why it's important to learn about. Reflecting on a non-academic conflict you've experienced in the past 2 years, briefly describe the situation and elaborate on how you address the challenge. Focus your response on what techniques, coping mechanisms, or resources you employed to address the challenge. Okay, if you're like me, you haven't had very many conflicts in your life. Well, big conflicts enough to write about them. But what I had to do was I picked, it's not usually what people would think about when they think of conflict. And that's the perfect opportunity, is picking something that's big to you and explaining why it was hard for you. And for me, there was a falling out between one of my friends and I, and it was really hard for me. And I talked about how this experience changed me and how it led me to growth. And so I'd encourage you guys to just find something that was hard for you and find out why it was hard, and that's your conflict. What appeals to you about living in Germany on the CBYX program? Tell us why you would like to be part of the CBYX program and how you contribute to its mission. I talked about experiencing a new culture, a new language, and wanting to improve my relationships with other cultures and how, in what ways my values correlate with the CBYX program's values, and how I thought that's why I'd be a good candidate. And then why did you choose to be an exchange student? I talked about experiencing more culture and language, and then I just vaguely said that I'd be able to better myself and gain new experiences. Okay, your host family letter. I spent a lot of time stressing out about this and trying to make it perfect. Just saying, there's not a perfect host family letter. And okay, real quick, this letter is the letter that future host families or possible host families will read to get to know you, decide if they think that you will fit with their family. And so it's kind of an introduction to who you are. And I spent a lot of time on it, and I revised it a lot. I think some important things to talk about are, you just say like, hi, I'm Daisy, I'm from Washington, USA, and I've lived here most of my life, and then thank them for reading the letter and taking the opportunity or taking the time to get to know you. And then I introduced my family a little bit. I said, like, I have siblings, I live with my parents, and I talked about how I have a really good relationship with my younger sister and my older brother especially. And then I said I love doing blank and blank with all of my siblings. And then I talked about a little, and all these paragraphs are very short because you don't have, I think you have 2 pages and double space, which isn't a lot of space to actually introduce yourself when you think about it, like to give a good introduction. So my friends, I just said, oh, with my friends, I like doing blank, blank, and blank. My friends describe me as this person. And then I said I'm very involved in extracurricular activities. I do all of this, and these are some of my passions. And then I said in my free time, when I'm not busy doing this, when I'm busy sailing, or when I'm not busy sailing or spending time with pigs, I enjoy reading, writing, music, and all that jazz. And I said I was trying to learn Deutsch and American Sign Language, and that I've been playing piano and ukulele and guitar. And I said my family all loves reading, which is true. And I said a couple of books I love because I really do love reading. And I talked about writing for a little bit because I also love writing. And then I did a short little paragraph about religion because my religion is very important to me. So I thought it was important that my host family knows about that. And then the last couple paragraphs, I said, I'm really excited to be an exchange student, and this is why. Really, really brief, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like 6 lines. And then I said, like 3 lines of what I want to do after exchange and after high school. And then the last paragraph is again like 3 lines thanking them and saying like, I know hosting is a big change in your life, and I'm very thankful that you are going to welcome me into your family. Everybody's letters are going to be completely different. So mine is nothing like any of the other exchange students I read. Like, they're so different. So really, it all depends on who you are as a person. And if other things are really important to you, like if it's really important that you play a certain sport, or it's really important that you, like if you have an issue or something that's important in your life or that is major in your life, put in your letter what you think you should put in your letter. It's all up to you, it's individual, and the more like you it is, the better it is, because then your host family can really get to know you and decide if you are good for their family. Moving on to the interview portion. For my program, I had 2 interviews, and the interviews were after they said, hey, you're a semifinalist, you are gonna have 2 interviews, a group interview and an individual interview. Because of Corona, we had it on Zoom. So the group interview was first, and first of all, I wanna talk about your dress and appearance for these interviews. I would suggest leaving it down, maybe like the top part back or halfway back. But leaving it down is really professional. If you want to curl it, like, you can. I don't think I curled my hair for my interviews. Usually I do, but I didn't. I had a nice gray t-shirt that's plain, but it was like a v-neck. I literally just wore this with some slacks. I ironed it though, I think. A lot of people wore blazers or a vest. I wish I wore a blazer. Group interview. Okay, so in my interview, basically they gave us a scenario, like you're going on vacation and you guys need to pick a place together, and then you need to like pick 5 photos that you do and 5 things you do, blah, 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 blah. And they gave us like a certain time limit for each of these things. And so my best advice for this situation is you want to show leadership, but not too much control, okay? So you want to help facilitate the conversation, but you don't want to take over. So you want to accept everybody's ideas, and when things get too out of hand, you want to say, okay, bring it all in, we're gonna choose, okay? Because I know that some people in my group like to ramble a little bit, so I would try to bring it all in together. And then you want to participate, so you don't want to only be the person who says like, okay, what are we doing? But you want to also contribute your ideas, but you need to be okay with compromising and going with anything. Hold on, there's a bug. Okay, because you want to be seen as an easygoing person who is okay with compromising and okay with teamwork. So make sure you show leadership and participation, but don't take over the conversation and don't control it too much. It's a fine line that's easy to cross, okay? You got it. And I would encourage you to be as friendly and genuine and comfortable as you can, because that shows you're just a well-rounded person and you're easy to be with, and that you're not too hard to talk to or hard to work with. And the group interview is really just to show how you work with other people and how you work in a team and how you respond to group situations where you have to make decisions and have to work with other people. In the individual interview, when they ask you a question, this is how you need to respond, okay? There's 3 steps. You need to answer the question, give an example, and then relate your example back to the question. I'm going to give you an example of this. One question that I had was, how do you think you're going to do making friends in Germany? And I said something along the lines of, I don't think it'll be that big of a problem because I have been in several experiences thus far in my different clubs I've joined, or coming back to high school after homeschooling and being in new situations where I need to make new friends and I don't know anybody. And I feel like I felt like those experiences would help me well in Germany, where I wouldn't know anybody and I'd be in a new experience. I made it last a little bit longer because that is too short. You need to go into depth on each of those steps, but not too long. Don't like write an essay, but like, one of those like short answers where it's like 6 written lines or something like that. 5 written lines. That's good length. And some of the questions they asked me were how I make friends, why I want to do exchange, what I thought was the scariest or what I was worried about for exchange, what I was most excited, if I had the opportunity to do some of my friends versus my host family, like if they both wanted me to do something at the same time, how would I pick and why? Just questions like that. Or like if someone wanted me to try new food and I didn't like it, what would I do? Or if rules were different, or if my family did things differently than my family, just things like that. So try your best to answer them. Be honest and give examples from your life and how you can use them to help you on exchange. Finally, at the end, they're going to ask you if you have any questions, and you need to ask questions. Ask 2 questions, 2 or 3 questions, okay? If you like genuinely have questions, ask those. But most of the time, like, I didn't actually have questions. I was just like chill. But my interviews were alumni exchange students, which take advantage of that. Like, ask them a question about exchange, because after you get accepted, you have so many questions. I asked questions like, what do you think are important qualities in exchange student, or what some advice would you have for a future exchange student? And if you're not asking a question about the job or application, like this applies to anything, then you don't show that you care and aren't wanting to learn more. So ask questions, answer your question with an example related back to the question, and be comfortable, be genuine, like act like you're okay being there. If you're all scared and shy, they're not going to want to pick you because they want a person who is okay in new situations. It's not about being outgoing, because shy people are amazing. I'm kind of shy. I used to be a super shy person, but they want someone who can adapt and do well in new situations. I just wanted to make a side note. I want to say the application is usually due in like December sometime, not sure exactly when. It is open right now, so I highly encourage you to apply. Even if you're not exactly sure about exchange, I want to tell you a little story. Okay, so I stumbled upon, long story short, I stumbled upon CBYX 3 days before the deadline for the application. I mean, definitely give yourself time and work on it before, like as much as you can before the deadline. But I'm just saying, if the deadline is in a couple days, or it's very soon, like a week or two, and you're just now seeing this video, or just now seeing a different video, or you found CBYX, still apply. And honestly, if you're not sure you want to do an exchange, or you're not sure you want to go, or anything like that, still apply, because I wasn't even sure if I wanted to do it for sure until like a couple months later. And when they picked me, I still had to be like, okay, is this for sure something I want? You can always say no, but you can't make that up later unless you apply the next year. But just apply, okay? It's better to just do it. So yeah, it's possible to do it in 3 days. I did. Also, if you have any questions at all about CBYX or the application process, feel free to ask me. I'm happy to answer.